Hello and welcome to episode 59, and today we're going to have a little look at recording flutes. Recording flutes from the perspective of perhaps recording in the studio isn't too tough, but recording a flute from the perspective of someone who wants to play on stage is a bit different. So live recordings of flutes can be quite tricky, mainly because the instruments themselves are actually quite hard to record. But there's little things we can do and little things we can try. And I've even done a little experiment to see if we can actually mount a microphone on a flute. One of the other things that we often get asked to do is use this type of lav mic on instruments. Now that's more of a trick. If you take, for example, a flute. When we spoke about saxophones a while back, we talked about the noise that these things create. Well, on a flute, you still get the noise, and being actually a metal instrument, the noise can actually be quite bright and cutting. But it's also something that's part of the sound of a flute, and the mechanical parts of it are sort of always going to be there. Now, you have a few problems with flutes, because one of the things that we try to do is don't blow into a microphone. So what on earth do we do with a flute where the sound is produced by blowing across a hole on here? This really is just a hole in a little piece of metal. And the sound of a flute is by directing a stream of wind over that. And that's what makes the air inside the flute react to the wind, and we get the usual sort of sound that we get with a flute. If you disconnect the mouthpiece on a flute, put your finger across it, you can blow across that port, and it's the same sort of sound that you get when you blow across the top of a bottle, isn't it? So the important thing here is that with me bunging up the hole here, absolutely everything you hear is coming from that hole. So it is exactly like blowing across the top of a bottle. If you uncover the other end, then you're getting sound from that hole, but a good proportion is being directed this way. Now, of course, when you stick the flute together, that's where, just like a saxophone, we've got the flute. Now, the SM7B, the one we use for comparisons, is here. Let's bring it in a little bit closer to the front. So, if I play here now, if I try and play a sort of a constant note, most of that breath was going straight into the microphone there. So what do? We need to try and find a way to reduce that, and this SM7B has got a nice foam windshield, so that actually does a pretty good job. But what do we do when somebody wants to play live? That's more of a problem. What we could use is something like this. Now, it's got a little clamp on the end that will go around the flute, and this particular bit here is just foam. So what I can do is take my microphone, says me looking for it. So we can take a lav mic, not just the one we used the other day. This is actually that cheap one. Do you remember we used it's about £32 or so, from mainly meant for going to violin. Put it inside there. We can then pinch that through there. So we've put the microphone inside of our little housing, and we can now try and attach it. So now we've got the microphone on there. Now it's facing towards the hole, and it's also facing towards my lips, and of course the stream of air coming out of it. Can you notice you can hear my actual breath noise as well on the incoming breath and the outgoing breath? So when you hear my breath when it's playing out, you hear my breath when I'm breathing in. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Could you live with this? I don't know. It's a close call, isn't it? Don't know. What do you think? So there we go. A quick look at what you could do with the flute if you wanted to. It's a tricky one, to be honest. And again, as usual, I shall leave you to draw your own conclusions. Anyway, I'll see you on the next video. Look after yourselves. Take care.